Hello and welcome to a Wednesday edition of your Newsmax Daily for July 23rd, 2025. A huge news day. The 204th day of the year, New Year's Day, the first day of the year, was 30 Wednesdays ago. This Wednesday, July 23rd, is World Whale and Dolphin Day, established by the International Whaling Commission in 1986 to commemorate the ban of commercial whaling that took effect that year. Save the whales. Remember that? It's also about promoting education of whales and dolphins and their conservation. On the food calendar, today is hashtag National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. So there you go. Enjoy. The news cycle basically revolves around three big things right now, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Trade, the Tulsi Gabbard Obama-Russia story, and Epstein. I'm starting with the one that will likely affect you the most.
I just signed the largest trade deal in history. I think maybe the largest deal in history with Japan.
That was at last night's White House reception for Republican members of Congress. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post, which is circulating around the world, that the deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. There has never been anything like it, adding that the United States will continue to always have a great relationship with the country of Japan, and that Japan would invest, at my direction, $550 billion into the United States and open its economy to American automobiles and rice, end quote, from President Trump. This was after meeting with the president of the Philippines about trade at the White House yesterday.
So I just want to say it's an honor to have you. We're going to talk about trade today, and we're very close to finishing a trade deal, big trade deal, actually. And we do a lot of business with you. It's a lot of income coming in for both groups. But I was surprised to see the kind of numbers. They're very big, and they're going to get bigger under what we're doing and what we're proposing. And I just want to thank you for being with us. It's a great honor.
The headline on Bloomberg Business this morning: the more deals Trump gets, the more confidence markets gain. And the markets are in the green again this morning. Then, during the Q&A portion of the bilateral Philippines meeting,
your Deputy Attorney General has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 and the election.
President Trump addressing questions during his news conference with the president of the Philippines. That takes us to the breaking news this morning on Wake Up America.
We start this morning with breaking news.
Yeah, I'm Charlotte McBride. You heard President Trump accuse former President Barack Obama of treason in the Oval Office yesterday. Well, now the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is dropping a bombshell report that informs that opinion.
Now, that report also forms the basis of the decision to refer the former President of the United States to the Justice Department for potential prosecution. Newsmax chief Washington correspondent James Rosen is live with us with the very latest.
Mark and Charlotte, good morning to you. To produce the 44-page report from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard that was unsealed just moments ago, the top of this hour, intelligence officials spent some 2,300 hours, mostly at the Central Intelligence Agency, reviewing the raw and finished intelligence that fed into the intelligence community's assessment back in 2017 that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win the 2016 election and interfered in it to achieve that purpose. Not so, the new report says. The new report finds the Russian president's asserted preference for the Trump-Pence ticket was based on only one classified data point, which was itself one scant, unclear, and unverifiable fragment of a sentence from a flawed report. The Kremlin's leaking of DNC emails was aimed, this report maintains, at undermining American democracy. Gabbard's team says Putin, quote, held back leaking some compromising material to use against the expected Clinton administration after they took office. This 2017 assessment under review was not based on any standard tradecraft. The report concludes, adding that it, quote, misrepresented these reports as reliable without mentioning their significant underlying flaws.
It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people.
Now, we do have some response to all of this from former President Barack Obama, whom, as you saw, President Trump accused of treason. And as we know, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has referred Mr. Obama to the Department of Justice for potential criminal prosecution in all of this. The assertion on the part of the Trump administration is that Mr. Obama, in essence, politicized the intelligence and got the intelligence community assessment in early 2017 that he was looking to get. The response from Patrick Rodenbush, a spokesman for former President Obama, is, and I'm going to read it to you now, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response, but these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations, Rodenbush said, are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Mark and Charlotte.
Newsmax Chief Washington Correspondent James Rosen there on Wake Up America this morning. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard did tell us on Rob Schmitt tonight, last night, that more documents were coming when Rob presented her with that same statement from the Obama administration.
We will be releasing further documents tomorrow that will refute that statement. And I would go back and point to, and we will be pulling a whole host of statements that were made by the Obama administration, by Hillary Clinton, by senior Democrat officials, by their friends in the media that state over and over again, after this January 2017 manufactured intelligence document was created, that repeat the narrative. And I'm looking at my notes here. New York Times says Russian hackers acted to aid Trump in the election. Obama's CIA Director John Brennan says there is strong consensus among us to support the CIA claim Russian hackers aided Donald Trump's election. Hillary Clinton said, I would be president if not for the Russian hackers supporting Donald Trump. So there is a vast body of evidence and intelligence that debunks and refutes this statement you've just read and others coming from some of the Democrat leaders in Congress today.
Yeah, Hillary called Trump illegitimate for years after that election.
Yes.
So.
When she said we will be releasing more documents tomorrow, I don't think anyone thought it would be before 9 o'clock this morning. So what does it all mean? That's what you want to know, right?
What is the charge for that for these people, I guess, is a question.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The charges, that is up to the Department of Justice to determine. We have turned over all of the documents that we have, both the redacted and unredacted versions. We will continue to do so as new information and new intelligence comes to light. We have whistleblowers who are now coming forward who say they have new information that is related to what occurred during this period of time. So the legal path forward will be up to the Department of Justice to determine. However, I will say how essential it is as an American that we hold people accountable, no matter how powerful they are, no matter what position they have held. It is essential that for the future of our nation and our democratic republic, that accountability must occur.
Yeah. No matter how powerful they are, what positions they had, accountability must occur. We will see. But unfortunately, I cannot say confidently that I really think anything will come of it. More from Chris Salcedo.
Speaking of leftists, newly declassified DOJ documents hidden from us by the Obama and Biden regimes show that James Comey's FBI barely glanced at potentially crucial evidence in its investigation of Hillary Clinton's use of an illegal private email server, a server she used to conduct the nation's business while she was Obama's Secretary of State. As everybody knows, enemy and allied nations alike hacked Hillary's homebrew server, compromising our national security. After such things happen, it is required that a national security damage assessment be made to determine just how badly our nation was compromised. But in typical traitorous and corrupt fashion, the Obama regime refused to conduct a required assessment of the damage to national security caused by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton sending and receiving secrets on that private email server. This was another example of crooked leftists placing their totalitarian lust for power, their desire to harm America without consequences, and their desire to rule over the safety and security of our people. Frankly, I'm sick of some Republicans telling me that I have to tolerate and protect these degenerates. The world is a dangerous place. We Americans have struggles enough with enemies like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, and all of their client states. The last thing we need is this enemy at home. And we certainly don't need lectures from certain fake Republicans like Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, and John Cornyn about how we must tolerate a Democrat Party that implements policies that are literally killing our rights and us. The question remains, does the GOP have enough new America First leadership to protect us from Democrats? Let's ask my first guest, gubernatorial candidate for the state of Alabama, Senator Tommy Tuberville. Senator, it's always good to see you. TNI Gabbard releases revelations about Obama, Comey, Brennan, and that gang. Now we learn that James Comey's FBI rigged the Hillary Clinton investigation, so we would never know how badly she damaged our national security when they didn't probe those crucial thumb drives. Senator, where is your party's push for accountability?
Well, thanks for having me on, Chris. What a colossal cover-up this has been. I got here right after Joe Biden took office, and it has been a disaster of us as Republicans, most Republicans, watching this go down. It is a huge cover-up. They've tried to push a narrative that basically they want to change our country that's something it's not. They wanted to take all the ability of us as Republicans, as Americans, to try to keep our country going in the right direction. But the mainstream media, the Democrats, and a few Republicans have pushed this narrative of let's do it the right way, let's make sure we're doing the right thing. It's been something that I've been shocked at since I've been here. And now we're finally seeing things start to leak out, the truth of really what happened. The American people are going to find out. It is going to be fun up here to watch all this start taking a narrative, a true narrative of what really happened, of the Democrats trying to change this country into a socialist communist country for the last 4 years. These people need to lawyer up, and they need to find out really what it's really like to be under the gun, putting their hand up, testifying in front of people all over this country, because it's going to be much watched as we look at all this narrative being brought forward.
Well, Senator, getting real Americans put into prosecutorial positions would help bring this accountability to these lawless Democrats. There are a number of confirmations for U.S. attorney backed up in the United States Senate right now. Some have been waiting for months. Has Leader Thune committed to you that this backlog will be done away with before the August recess?
Well, we've talked about that. We're trying to catch up. The problem, Chris, is the Democrats are playing four corners of basketball here. Slow play. They don't get back any time. It's a lot of fundamental errors that have happened, not just from here in the Senate, but also the White House. We have to have some firepower. We have to be able to fight back. But at the end of the day, we're going to get this done, even if we have to stay up here weekends through August. The Democrats don't think that we'll stay up here and work. Guess what? We'll stay up here and work. We'll have enough people up here to get a quorum to make sure that we push the agenda. And if they don't want to take a vacation, we don't have to take one.
Wow, I think you're breaking some news right there. The Senate actually works. That's some big news, Senator.
Chris Salcedo with Alabama Senator and gubernatorial candidate Tommy Tuberville. Well, that's refreshing to hear. Republicans are ready to work through the recess, even weekends, if that's what it's going to take to get the rest of the president's appointments confirmed. I give Senator Tuberville a lot of credit. He was a football coach, right? And I would rather be coaching football than working there in the swamp. And he would be making a lot more money as a college football coach as well. President Trump is scheduled to speak at an AI summit at the Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium in D.C. late this afternoon, where he will also sign executive orders, according to the White House calendar. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will likely talk about that and everything else that I just talked about in today's press briefing prior to the summit. As discussed yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson shut down the House vote on the Epstein case until after the summer recess, but the Justice Department announced that it will speak with Jeffrey Epstein's former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving a 20-year prison sentence for trafficking underage girls to Epstein. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was one of President Trump's many personal attorneys. As you know, the president has had many personal attorneys, but Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says he plans to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell very soon. If there's anybody that knows anything, obviously it's her. And this is Texas Representative Beth Van Duyne on Newsmax.
So I think, you're looking at some of my colleagues who have had 2.5 years to bring this forward. Where were they under the Biden administration? If this had to be seen so quickly, where were they the last 2.5 years? They know what the rules are of the House. What they want to do is they are purposely using this. They strung out the clock. They are purposely using this now to try to make quick political points. But he's absolutely right. The American people can see through it. President Trump has said he wants to have all relevant, all legitimate records released. Pam Bondi has supported him on that. I support them on that. We don't want to have records released that are prohibited by the courts or that can harm or identify victims. We want to make sure that we're not doing that. But other than that, if they are legitimate and they are legal, show transparency. I think what you've seen from this administration is it's the most transparent administration that we have had. And all of the complaints that I'm hearing from folks on the other side of the aisle, keep in mind, these were the same people who literally for 4 years under a Biden administration had the biggest cover-up ever, that Biden was on top of his game. Crickets, absolute crickets. Yeah. Biden's on top of his game. No. There's no mental decline. Now we're supposed to believe them. It's obviously just a political ploy.
And one of them, it's not just Ro Khanna, a Democrat. One of them is a Republican, Thomas Massie of Kentucky. And Speaker Johnson is not too happy. He says, I don't understand Thomas Massie's motivation. But however, there we go. Tomorrow, recess begins.
Bianca De La Garza, host of Newsline at noon on Newsmax with Texas Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. Let's wrap it up with Bob Brooks, co-host of American Agenda, and the Brooks Breakdown on Stephen Colbert.
Okay, welcome back in. Time for the breakdown. So I'm sure you all have heard by now that The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on CBS is coming to an end next year in May. And according to Colbert and everyone else who hates President Trump, it, of course, is President Trump's fault this is happening. They're all saying now that the president strong-armed Paramount, CBS's parent company, into doing this, that Paramount bent the knee to President Trump because Paramount is trying to close a merger with Skydance Productions that requires the approval from the Trump administration. And the left's theory is because Stephen Colbert typically made President Trump the butt of his jokes, President Trump then forced Paramount to cancel The Late Show or else he wouldn't approve the merger. That's the theory. Okay, so let's cue up the late-night talk show temper tantrums.
On Friday, Donald Trump posted, I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go f*** yourself.
Okay. Jon Stewart of The Daily Show on Comedy Central also got in on saying that exact same thing. Just turn it. Turn it.
Just one little phrase. You tell him. Go f*** yourself.
Jeez, oh whiz, you can clearly see Trump derangement syndrome on full display right there. Mind you, Comedy Central's parent company is also Paramount. Jon Stewart also had something to say to his own bosses.
The fact that CBS didn't try to save their #1 rated network late night franchise that's been on the air for over 3 decades is part of what's making everybody wonder, was this purely financial? Or maybe the path of least resistance for your $8 billion merger? Was killing a show that you know rankled a fragile and vengeful president so insecure?
You know, I always thought it was odd when these hosts talk trash about their management, the people who employ them and pay them on their TV shows. Kind of seems self-righteous to me. Anyways, to the main reason for canceling The Late Show, it doesn't make any money.
Over the weekend, somebody at CBS followed up their gracious press release with a gracious anonymous leak saying they pulled the plug on our show because of losses pegged between $40 million and $50 million a year.
I mean, isn't that all we need to know? How do you go on TV and complain about being canceled when you don't just not make any money, you lose money in a lot of it, and then on top of it, blame someone else for why you're being canceled?
That is Newsmax host Bob Brooks with the Brooks Breakdown, part of American Agenda, 2 o'clock Eastern on Newsmax, along with Katrina Zish. On Wall Street, stock markets opened in the green, as I mentioned earlier, with all the trade news. Dillard's department store is joining Trump media and other companies in saying goodbye to Delaware. Dillard's board has filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission to relocate its corporation, as others have, from Delaware to Texas, citing concerns over the state's court system and recent court rulings that have been unfavorable to corporate leaders. Bitcoin and most other major cryptocurrencies are slightly negative this morning. Bitcoin down about $1,500 at $118,000. Ethereum down about $80, $3,600 or so. XRP down 28 cents at $3.27. And I cannot close it out without noting the death of rock icon Ozzy Osbourne yesterday. You have to really take a step back and think of all that this guy accomplished, right? Black Sabbath, platinum albums, huge solo career, platinum albums, massive multi-million dollar tours around the world. And the Osbournes were essentially the beginning of reality TV, if you remember that. The Osbournes was really one of the first reality TV shows that has gotten us to where we are today, sadly. If you're as old as I am, you may remember the Black and Blue tour. That was Black Sabbath and Blue Oyster Cult had a tour in the 80s. It was one of the first concerts I went to. Pretty sure I was at high school. May have even been middle school at the time. I don't recall the year, but it was at Madison Square Garden, one of my first concerts. It was huge. Big loss, Ozzy Osbourne. All right, keep up with all of the news and breaking developments throughout the day. There will be plenty of them here on Newsmax, N2, and at Newsmax.com. Also, make sure you have the Newsmax app on your phone so you can stay up to date anywhere, anytime. The news starts each and every morning with Wake Up America. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for checking out the Newsmax Daily Podcast. I do appreciate it. Pass it on to friends, family, and pretty much anybody. Have a fantastic day. Pay attention. And keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Warning. Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.